Namaste. Hi guys, it is your one and only non-practicing anthropologist. Kaiso. Привет. Konnichiwa. Namaste. Hi guys, it is your one and only non-practicing anthropologist. Okay, there's a reason why I don't practice anthropology. But if you know what anthropology is, it is the study of people and culture. And that is what I do here. That's why you're here. To hear what I have to say about what I know about people, what they do, and just how they get it popping. You know? I don't know. Did I say that right? I'm not sure. But I'm here to just talk to you guys and tell you guys about the journey and explore the world and the wonders of the world. You know, I do have a passion for the Middle East. I studied that for a very, very long time in anthropology. And so when I say I'm a non-practicing anthropology, I have the grands of debt to obtain that 4-year degree. Yes, that 4-year degree at the university. Do I think it was worth it? I mean, this was not what I was supposed to sit here and talk to you guys about, but we're going to talk about it. Me being a non-practicing anthropologist and what that means, and did I make the right decisions? Would I do it again? Would I do it again? I don't know. Honestly, college was great to a certain extent. Like, I literally went to college to go do track and to get a degree and to party. I got the degree. I partied, and 2-time All-American. Don't play with me at all. Okay? Don't do it. Hammer, weight, throw. Let's go. But in terms of going for anthropology, I didn't initially want to go into anthropology because I had no idea what it was. I initially went to school to be a biologist at a private, very small Catholic school. But that didn't end up working out, so I transferred to a university, and that's when my major was biomedical science. And then I was like, I don't want to be a doctor, so then I switched my major, and I had to pick between statistics and anthropology. And honestly, I knew that I could get, a degree in anthropology. It wasn't that hard, so I picked it. Hindsight, I probably should have picked statistics. I do enjoy statistics, and that is actually something that I do in my day-to-day job. If you guys don't know, I am working in the IT field. My passions do range from machine learning as well as AI. Together we can do neural networking. Okay, don't let me nerd out on you guys, because I definitely will. Yeah. But things that I did enjoy about anthropology, many of you guys do not know how anthropology is broken down, okay? You have cultural anthropology, you have biological anthropology, you have linguistics, and you have archaeology. Never wanted to do archaeology, okay? It's this whole thing, but when I had a friend's mom come in and show us, like, she literally takes the brush, slowly and gently, looking for artifacts in the hot sun. I was like, can't be me. Couldn't do it. So that's why I didn't choose archaeology at all. Linguistics, I do have a passion for languages. If you meet me ever in life and you speak another language, I will be fascinated. Most of anyone that I've ever met, I've always tried to learn their language. So the languages I kind of know, of course Spanish, like, hola, ¿cómo estás? How you doing? Then I know Russian because I hung out with a lot of Russians, or people who spoke Russian. So like, привет, как дела? Здравствуй. Okay, that part might have been a little bad, but I still have someone who is still teaching me Russian, so yeah. My best friend is Punjabi, so she speaks Hindu, so I said Namaste. Her dad actually thought I could speak fluent Hindi, and I cannot. But that's not to say I won't learn. I am interested in that. Other languages I kind of know. I do know a little bit of Arabic. Shout out to Hamza. That's the homie. He sung to me happy birthday in Arabic. That was so sweet. That's like the nicest thing a guy who I work with has ever done for me. Sing to me in his native language. So like, assalamu alaikum, alaikum salam, and then shukran, shukran. Yes. What else? Yeah, best friend in Spain. She speaks Basque. So kaiso, irigasko, eh. And then just came back from Japan. So you already know I'm trying to learn Japanese. Japanese is not that good, but you know what? Japanese is not easy for me at all, but I'm learning. So there is konnichiwa, and then there is arigato ogaimasu, yes, ohayo, sayonara, and yeah, my cousin will always ask me about food. I can't remember what word she was saying, but yeah. So that was the linguistics part of it. And or one of my favorite areas of anthropology, which is biological anthropology. So if you're familiar with Bones and what she does, that's basically like biological anthropology. I loved it because literally you got to, like, in a respectful way, do examinations of skeletal remains. So, you know, someone who had lived thousands of years ago, you can respectfully look at their skull to see if you can age them based on their molars, as well as looking at their tibia and their fibula, you know, the maxillary, if you wanted to determine potentially their race. Which anthropology in its whole identity has some issues. It actually is steeped in a lot of racism, because at the time, a lot of the fathers of anthropology were interested in eugenics and trying to prove that a person, based on the size of their skull, was more or less intelligent. I don't support that at all. And what you notice a lot of times is, and it is getting better, the lack of diversity that there is in anthropology. But that is kind of where some of the tensions do arise when talking about anthropology, and how people, it's a little gray area where people are like, well, you know, African Americans, Africans have larger skulls. We're not going to get into that. I mean, if you're looking to identify remains, you know, I do find that portion of it interesting. Looking at the molars as well as the tibia, the fibia, you know, that's interesting to me. But what really caught my attention when I decided to go the route of anthropology was I always wanted to go into public health. And when I found out about medical anthropology, which is kind of like a tier down from the cultural anthropology, I thought that was like the most fascinating thing. Going back to the cultural anthropology, it's understanding culture, it's understanding, you know, their practices, their being, whoever that group of people you're interested in having a conversation with or understanding. You know, long are the days of the armchair anthropologist, which is basically a phrase where you're like, hey, I'm reading a book and it says these people are from the jungle, so jungle people probably like swing on vines. Like, that is what people back in the day would do, and that's just totally not cool. You will not understand the culture, the people, none of that, unless you are in there, immersing yourself in there, in the culture, and seeing what is going on with your two eyes, orejas, okay? Your eyes. Get your, you know, manos in there, and, you know, work, trabajo. Like, I work and I learn, you know, I'm not like working, but you know what I mean, okay? So that part of cultural anthropology was like, wow, this is really cool. And when I had 3 weeks to figure out what I was going to switch my major to, that's where I ended up switching it to, because I can see a lot of benefits that public health and a lot of connections between public health and cultural anthropology. Going down the ladder of cultural anthropology is where you see medical anthropology. And for those of you who are not aware of what medical anthropology is, It's basically a better understanding of a group of people based on their cultural practices. Hopefully I don't get banned for saying this, but in some countries, there is beliefs that being with sexually a virgin would help stop the spread of HIV. Well, in today's society, we know that that is actually detrimental to the community. So knowing those things help for individuals to better address health issues in certain areas by having that understanding of cultural practices. If people think, hey, if you have a fever, use this dirty blade and just cut you up and just let you bleed and just keep passing the knife. If that one person has dirty blood, then they're, unbeknownst to them, passing on a disease and therefore spreading it throughout the community, which, could have sheer dire consequences. So, so that's pretty much a little bit about like anthropology, why I kind of chose it, the pros and the cons to it, the dirty past that it has come from, but more about that. And when it comes to me personally, growing up, I went to a very, very diverse school where African Americans, Africans, mixed kids did not make up 1% of the high school and the middle school until I graduated in 2017. 17, yep. Wait, no. Sorry. 2012 in high school. So growing up, I was that girl who I didn't necessarily like have a set circle. Being an only child, being someone who kind of didn't grow up super close with their family because they're like spread out all over the place. I tended to hang out a lot more with other races of people. I remember growing up in elementary, my neighbors were Bosnian. I had another neighbor, they were from Lebanon, and another neighbor from Africa. That was just like what I was used to. And this may not be the norm for other girls like me, and that's cool because we're all different, so we all have a different journey and a different story, and that's my story, and in the community in which I went to a PWI, so a predominantly white institution. Oh my goodness, the stories, honey. We had a huge population of Polish and Dutch. And for some reason, they would always like talk crap about each other. And I'm just like, wow, this is not my fight. So I have nothing to say about this. But being that we went to a school that was like predominantly, white, the people of color there, and when I say people of color, let me just say African American people and Africans, we did not stick together. We weren't cohesive. It was like, I see you, you see me. Okay, cool. I know your name. Mind my business. And for that, we didn't stick together. So therefore, I found myself being included and being amongst people of Asian background. And I still do. And I don't want to put anybody's name out there, but I was always with a lot of Indian people, and we had a lot of Chinese, Korean, Japanese. Now, I just tended to, when it comes to Asia, just have a better understanding of the Indian culture, just because that's who I was around a lot. So, I would even be like, hey girl, I'm Indian too. She's like, really? I was like, Native American. She's like, okay, it's not the same. And I get it. It's different. But, yeah, I grew up like that. So me being the only person of color, like, I feel no ways about that. That doesn't make me feel any type of way. When I was in Baltimore, And at the time, my roommate she is, but she's not my roommate now, so you get it. So she was Filipino, her boyfriend was Indian, and her stepfather was Jamaican. It was the craziest thing, but like, me being surrounded by Indian people, that's pretty much a norm for me. And I love it, understanding that India as a whole was a bigger country than it is today, when it was under the rule of the British, and the separation of India from Pakistan being a predominantly Muslim country, but also there are Muslims within India. There's Hindu, there's Sikh, all of that. There's a whole bunch of Catholics too, maybe not a lot, but just having that experience and understanding, like, I think it's Tajali is the language they speak in the south, and in up north they speak Punjabi, or not Punjabi, but that's like more of their religion. That's more of like where they're from. Their religion could be Hindi, but they speak Hindi too. Yeah, one of my most enjoyable moments in anthropology, and has inspired me to travel, is my research and understanding of the Middle East. Oh my goodness, I love the Middle East so much. When I was learning about it in school, I even named my hammer. Okay, that's like a 7-pound ball on a chain. Like if you've ever seen Matilda and she's like, oh, that's me, right? I named my hammer after the goddess of love and war, and Inanna or Ishtar, depending on like what location you are, that's the name that you'll give her, Ishtar. And just like learning about Dumuzi and Gilgamesh and the cedar forest in Lebanon and Petra and all of the ancient civilizations that like sprouted up during the early crescent, era, where, the Fertile Crescent era, where we start seeing the breads and the wheats and things like that. Like, that stuff really intrigues me. And so when I meet people from these areas, I'm like, tell me more. I want to know. Let's talk. So my nerdy cultural side coming in. The other really huge thing that we studied was, going back to the biological anthropology, we mummified a pig. It didn't turn out right. We had to do it twice because the pig started turning blue. He didn't really mummify that well. But, we definitely did that. Okay, going back to, civilizations. Learning about those civilizations in Turkey and then in Napoleon, and I think I said that right. And then the great Zimbabwe, like understanding how different civilizations like fell, like blow my mind, like whoa. Whether it's environmental, whether it's human cause of like deforestation, understanding how we play a role in our societal construct in either the building up or the tearing down. Listen, we could talk about that for all day. Just let me know when you want me to stop, when you want me to continue, or when you want me to talk about. Love that stuff. At an early age, I knew that culture was going to be a part of my life and a part of something that I have a passion for. My sophomore year in college at the Catholic private school, there was an opportunity to take a spring break trip to do some service learning. So me, your girl, your non-practicing anthropologist, went all the way to South Dakota Pine Ridge Reservation. I gotta shout them out because people just don't know or understand the significance of Pine Ridge. Okay, what they went through, what they're going through, and why it's important to talk about what's going on there and to shine light on that community. Pine Ridge, sorry for the noise, is second poorest to Haiti at the time that I went, which was 2014. Pine Ridge has 80% to 90% unemployment. Let that sink in for you, okay? In America, we have people on a reservation where it is 80 to 90% unemployment. I had a father who we interviewed tell me he wished his daughter could be normal. He wishes that his daughter could bring home stray animals. She can't bring home stray animals. Why? Because she's bringing home stray people to stay in his house. Why? Because these people have no other place, these kids have no other place to go. The suicide rate on the reservation there, their life expectancy is like 40. I remember it was me and a girl named Diamond. We were the only women of color who went on this 22-hour car ride to South Dakota. Not the front part of South Dakota close to Minnesota. All the way down by the Black Hills. You know? And that experience has always touched me and has always been near and dear to my heart. Because we were there to put up solar panels to help out Henry Red Cloud. And where we were staying was it's like a loft. And at the time, you know, to keep the whole loft area warm, you had to constantly keep putting wood in the furnace. And if you didn't, it got cold. It got really cold. I remember, you know, we were there for a week. There were times people would forget and we'd be cold. There was one bathroom to 10 people, you know. So I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes we just, you know, we didn't shower. Okay, we took a whole bath, you know. And there were black widows. You don't know where they're lurking. There's bees everywhere, you know. And with all the things going on that weren't perfect, I never felt as if I didn't belong there. My heart just felt really connected with the people. A sense of like sadness would come over me. You know, there were 2 incidences that, actually 3, but 2 with an animal that really stuck out to me. The first one, I saw this cute puppy. Come here, let me pet you. Just a wild dog, I think. And that's the thing, dogs could roam free, and the livestock were, you know, the horses, the cows, whatever they had available were locked up. You know, you see that type of stuff in a third world country, but wait. You're in America. So I go down to touch this. He looks like a black and a chocolate and like peanut butter German Shepherd. Place my hand on his head. I start petting him. Then I look at my hand. All of these bugs just start crawling up my hand. And it's like, you're looking at this dog so happy to have attention, but he's covered in bugs. The other incident that happened that it really impacted me was we were driving to go, I believe, to the university to go to the museum. And while we were all in the van that we took all the way from Michigan to South Dakota, I'm looking out the window, and this was around fall time. So one thing you guys may not know is it gets very, very cold in South Dakota. And looking out the window, contemplating, about my own heritage and the people here, I look and I see a horse. Big horse. The horse is not moving. The horse is not. It's not making any noise. Horse is not doing anything a normal horse should be doing, because the horse is dead. And it wasn't just like the horse had been dead for a couple of hours, a few days. No, that horse looked like the deer I see on the side of the road after weeks, maybe months of just being ignored and not being discarded. Its rib cage was starting to compress. I've never seen a dead horse in my life. And in America, we put such a huge price tag and such a high significance on horses. But to see one there lifeless,